Chapter 2.0 Review Function Notations and Domain and Range. What is function notation? Standard notation y equals 2x squared plus 4. If this is written in as y equals, then it's called standard notation. If it is written as fx equals 2x squared plus 4, then it's called function notation. So all it is that when you have a function notation, then you replace y with fx. So f is the name of the function and x is the input and fx is the output. F is not a variable, so do not multiply f and x. So for example number 1, you're going to use the -2 for x place and plug it in for x here to find out the function value at -2. So 3 times -2 is -6 plus 2 equals -4. So the function value at -2 is -4, and then you're going to use the domain value or x value as 0 and plug it in for x. So f of 0 equals 3 times 0 plus 2, which is 0 plus 2 is 2. Now you're going to use x value as 2, so you're going to plug it in here for x. So f of 2 equals 3 times 2 plus 2. So 3 times 2 is 6 plus 2 is 8. Now you're going to, these are the outputs. We also call them range. So range value, you're going to start from the smallest to biggest. So the smallest number here is -4, and then 2, and then 8. So for 1b, you're going to find out the outputs when the inputs or domain is -2, -1, and 2. So you're going to plug it in the values one by one. So g of -2 is -4 times, so there is a x square, so x value is -2. So -2 square minus 3 times -1 minus 7. So that's going to be -4. Remember, -2 square is going to be 4. And negative time negative would be plus 3 minus 7. So -4 times 4 is -16 plus 3 minus 7. So -16 plus 3 minus 7, when you connect these numbers, you're going to get -20. Now you're going to use -1 as your x value. So plug it in -1 for x. So you're going to get g of -1 equals -4 times -1 square minus 3 times -1 minus 7. So -1 square is going to be just 1. So 1 times -4 is -4. -3 times -1 is plus 3 and minus 7. So -4 plus 3 is -1, and -1 -7 is -8. Now you're going to use x value as 2 for x. So g of 2 is going to be -4 times 2 square. So 2 squared is 4. So -4 times 4 is -16. And then you're going to use -2 for this x value. You're going to get -3 times 2 is -6 minus 7. So you're going to get -16 minus 6 minus 7, and that's going to be -29. Now you're going to arrange the range value. Range is same as output. Smallest to the biggest value. So the smallest number here is -29, and then you're going to have -20, and then -8. These are your range values: -29, -20, and -8. Now these are the try-on problems that you're going to try in your notebook. So to pause the video and try the problems and then match the answers with me. For number 2, you're going to use these x values and plug it in for x one by one to get the output value. So when you plug it -1 here, you're going to plug -1 for x, -1 for x, and then solve this, and we get the answer for number 1. That is when you plug it in for -1 is 8, And then when you use negative 2, this is going to be negative 2 square minus 5 times negative 2 plus 2. You're going to get 4 plus 10 plus 2 equals 16. Then you're going to use 0 for x value and plug it in for x. You're going to get 0 square minus 5 times 0 plus 2, and these two terms become 0, and you're going to get answer as 2. Write it in an order from least to biggest. So it's going to be 2 comma 8 comma 16. For number 3, again you're going to use negative 3 first and plug it in here for x. Negative 3 square is 9, so 2 times 9 plus 2 is 18 plus 2 is 20. Use 6 for x values. You're going to get f of 6 equals 2, 6 to the power 2 plus 2. 6 to the power 2 is 36. 36 times 2 is 72 plus 2 equals 74. Now going to use negative 1 for x value. So f of negative 1 equals 2 times negative 1 square. So negative 1 square is going to be just 1. So 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. So the smallest one is 4, and then 20, and then 74. For number 4, negative 4 for x value. So you plug it in for x value, and then you're going to get negative 4 square plus 4 times negative 4 minus 1. So negative 4 squared is 16, positive 16, because negative 4 square will turn into positive 16. 16 minus 16 cancel, and you're going to get negative 1 as your answer. G of negative 1, so you're going to plug it in negative 1 for x. So negative 1 square plus 4 times negative 1 minus 1. So this is going to be positive 1. 4 times negative would be negative 4. Minus 1 is negative 4, because 1 and negative 1 cancel, so it's negative 4. Now we're going to use the 1 for x value. So you plug it in 1 here. 1 square plus 4 times 1 minus 1. 1 square is 1 plus 4 minus 1. So 1 and negative 1 cancel. You're going to get 4 as your answer. So the smallest one is negative 4, then negative 1, and then 4. So these are your range values, negative 4, negative 1, and 4. So now number 5. So first x value is negative 2. You're going to plug it in for x values here. And g of negative 2. So you always read as g of negative 2. 3 times negative 2 square minus 5 times negative 2. So 3 times negative 2 square means 4. 3 times 4 plus 10 equals 22. Now use negative 1 for x value. So g of negative 1 is 3 times negative 1 square minus 5 times negative 1. So this is going to be 3 times 1, because negative 1 square is just 1, plus 5. So 3 plus 5 is 8. Now you're going to use 4 for x value. So g of 4 is 3 times 4 square minus 5 times 4. So 4 squared is 16. 16 times 3 is 48. Minus 20 equals 28. So the least number is 8, and then 22, and then 28. These are your output values or range values.